Okay. Hello, folks. Got quiet all of a sudden, so shocked me. Okay. Let me get this microphone going. Testing, testing. There we go. Okay. Welcome. I'm Dr. Knapp. This is Biology 3332, Elementary Microbiology. In a minute, there's going to be a IT guy, Classroom Technologies guy coming, and he's going to try to fix that projector. And the screen is still not great. It's still cutting off a little bit of that, so he's going to come by and fix that too. Okay? So you're going to see somebody up here fiddling around. That's what's going on. Okay? So, okay. So today, first off, office hours. So I have an asterisk up there because I can meet at lots of other times during the week. So if you have, you want to come by and you have questions about the material or whatever, I will absolutely be there from 11 to 12 Monday, Wednesday, but I'll also be there generally Monday, Wednesday, also like until maybe 2-ish. On Tuesday, Thursday as well, like maybe roughly 9 to 12-ish, somewhere in that range. You can always just email me a day before just to make a specific time if you want that. That's fine. To make sure I'll be there. But you know, point is, I'm available lots of other times besides just this 11 to 12. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do. Okay. One thing is we do want to use, if you got them with you, our let's see if we get this going here, clickers. Okay. So we have it. If you brought it with you, great. Because we're going to, although they won't count for real until the 23rd, I'm going to be posting the points up, even though they won't count. The main purpose is to make sure that you are seeing your points. Oh, go ahead, Ray. So that projector not working, and then that still kind of is cut off like a little bit here. So if you need to do something, go ahead. This is Randy, by the way. He's the Classroom Technologies guy. What was I going to say? Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to do some clicker questions. Okay, again, really the purpose is to, learn some stuff, obviously, but to again, to make sure in these first week and a half that the points are registered. I'll elaborate more on that, why that's such a big deal. Okay, so today we're going to go through kind of, although I emailed you all and kind of spelled out some of the nuts and bolts. I'll go into more depth on some things, not so much on other things. But we kind of cover that first great, all about how you figure that out. Some rules, policy type stuff, and a little bit of how to study, and then just the very, very first part of the chapter 1 stuff. Okay. Not going to get hardcore on too much on lecture material yet, but at least a little bit of an intro. So the syllabus, if you've gone through it, is lengthy. Okay, it's like 10 or 11 pages, something like that. Okay, it's for a reason, because it's expanded over the last 15 years in length, because I keep thinking of stuff. Okay, these are common questions student asks. So let me just put it in the syllabus so that they don't have to hunt me down to find the answer to one of their questions. And so that's why it's pretty lengthy. So do look through it. To make you look through it, that's why I'm starting to add questions on the exams about the syllabus. So particularly the big things about normally they're type things. And we'll go through that today. Okay, so do read that syllabus. It will answer most questions. Okay. This course, that's wrong. This is yesterday's lecture. This is the Monday, Wednesday. From Monday, Wednesday, I didn't change the date. Okay. So no, that is correct. You can't end until Monday, but the course is not open. This one is full to the brim, as you can all see by just turning your heads around. So we are filled up in here, and if you are here and enrolled, I don't know how long the wait list is, but I'm sure it's number of bodies on that wait list. So your only other recourse is this thing, okay? This closed section request form. It doesn't guarantee a seat. When I've seen that being successful is it's like this course needed to graduate in spring, okay? And not even that will necessarily guarantee a seat, but it's really for those kind of what they call extreme cases. So there'll be a number of students that will fill these out, right? So you're going to be, evaluated among different types that have turned these in. So again, at this point, it's not going to guarantee, but Matt will try it, So, but this is all, you can pick this up in Fleming and some advising in there. You're going to have to turn in documents to support your case as well. And this policy is basically for everything, all classes in NSM. Back up. I know technology about that's all I okay. For the lab, the question about this today. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, thank you, Chairman. Okay. So we have a system. And this lecture course. So you either have to have had it previously and passed, or take it at the same time as the lab. Okay. So those are the prerequisites. So, but the labs are full except for maybe a couple sections. Obviously, one being held now, but that's not going to help you that are in this course. But I think there's one other one that may have a few openings. So, but most of them are full. Okay. And while there may be some leeway with lecture courses and stuffing people in, not for labs, because it's really about safety concerns. 24 is the limit. Okay. Let's see, email. So the only reason I bring this up because I emailed everybody. I didn't get any bounce backs except one, right? So if this is you here, Isa, trying to protect anonymity to a degree, okay? Don't want to blurt out the email account, but if this is you out there, okay, I did get a bounce back. So it has to do with this problems occur when you link your uh.edu email to like your Yahoo or your Gmail or what have you. And when it tries to integrate, there can be issues with that. Okay, but like I said, there's only one person that I got a bounce back. So if that's you, you're not getting my emails. Okay, so get it fixed. Go over to MD Anderson. This is where they deal with that stuff. Okay. Okay, great. So what makes up your grade? So the bulk of the grade, 72% is your exams. Okay, so each one's worth equal weight. There are no drops, so none of the exams are dropped. They're all weighted basically the same. Exam 4 is not, I mean, it falls in the final exam period, but technically it's not a final exam in the sense it's not comprehensive. Okay, so basically each exam covers 1/4 of a course, so it's like broken down into 4 units. Okay, and remember, I'm sure many of you are familiar with CASA, but if this is new to you, or you're not aware that we now have like 3 different locations you can possibly go to for this, okay? So, so just be aware of that. Generally, you can, so you sign up for time slots. The exams will be held over 2 days, so you'll have 2 days and various times on those 2 days to choose from. None of the exams fall on a lecture period, so if it did, you would have that, not have to come to class that day, but we don't have that scheduled that way. So, so 2 weeks ahead of time is generally when the scheduler opens up. So just kind of keep your eyes out. If I find get the information I'll relay it to you in class or email, what have you, okay? That's the other thing, just digressing for a second, the email, okay? Make sure you get my emails, because I do email kind of semi-regularly you all about stuff, like when an exam's coming up, quiz is coming up, other stuff. So, you know, just, like I said, nobody had a problem here except one person, but just be aware that you'll get emails from me fairly regularly, okay? Okay, so aside from exams, clickers worth 15%. So this covers the participation attendance, okay? So this is based on what's called the clicker grade. Right now, we'll go through that here in a second, okay? So it's not an insignificant part. So 15%. Homework, which is through Smart, that's online. It's linked to the publisher, the textbook, and there'll be like homework problems, which are 4 chapters, are already, you can things. The first due date's not for a couple weeks yet, but I will adjust. I'll adjust due dates based on where we're at in the material in here. So, and what that basically means is the due date can be pushed back depending on where we're at. Because I'm never 15 years in ahead of schedule. I'm always behind. So, you know, if anything, the due date will be pushed back. So, let's see. Okay, so that's 8%, 5% in-class assignments. So that's kind of where basically you get a break from me up here, and you kind of work together. So it's like groups of 3. If you've been, most of you've been through the 1361, 1362 thing, and Dr. Farmer and Dr. Cheek, picture do the teamwork thing. So it's very similar to how Dr. Farmer did it, if you had her. Where you'd be at groups of 3, you'll be assigned in the groups, and don't worry about, you know, when it gets close to that time, I'll make you aware, give you all the details. Basically, you'll go to a folder on Blackboard. It says teamwork stuff, and you look in there, click on it, and you'll see a document that has teams or team assignments, and there'll be 3 of you, and it'll have a seat number. So only on, there's 4 of those during the semester, and on only those days do you need to go to an assigned seat. Okay, those are the only days you do that. So just kind of take a look at that document. There will be also be a document that will be a seating chart, basically an outline of this class, and it tells you the seat numbers and whatnot. So do look at that before you come here, so you kind of have an idea where you're going to and not meandering around, right? Because you're going to have 300 people on those days, and meandering around, it's going to look like bumper cars going everywhere. Okay, so kind of have an idea. But again, you'll get a lot of warning and info on that when those days approach. Okay. And the kind of things you do in teamwork are basically, I give you a sheet, and it'll have like 5, 6 problems on it, and you kind of will go through as a group and solve ones. You may not necessarily be able to complete all of them. I may say focus on numbers 1, 5, 7, and whatever, okay? But after class is over, you know, those will be posted with kind of answers to those things. So kind of meant to have people help each other out and kind of help understand the material. Of course, I mean, I'll be around. You can ask me questions and whatnot, okay? And generally, these are followed up with, you know, we'll probably do a teamwork thing for maybe 50 minutes of class time, or 55 minutes, something. In the last 15 minutes or so is a few questions to kind of sum it all up, kind of thing, okay? So I try to make those assignments focus on areas that I historically know people have difficulty with, right? So kind of get some more reinforcement there. And the teamworks would generally fall on days that will be at the end of a unit, right? So we will have covered all the material in that unit, and then we'll plop a teamwork assignment in there to kind of, you know, give you some more reinforcement of the material, okay? Okay, then, so that's all the percentages of your final grade. Then you have 2 extra credits. You actually have a third one I didn't show here. The third one is at the end of the semester when you do evaluations. And so that can add a few points to your exam 4, okay? These are points that you'll add to your final grade. So that's, it's all significant, but that's particularly significant is this extra credit, because you're actually getting points added onto your final grade. Okay, and so the clicker extra credit is BIOL based on clicker grade, whatever you end up getting. And the clicker grade is really just anywhere from, it's based on a 100% scale. 100, so either 0 to 100 can be your clicker grade, and it's all based on that. And you can get that information from in the syllabus. It gives you details on, you get this grade, you get this many points. Okay, the maximum amount you can get here, I think, is 2 points added on your final grade. The maximum amount from extra credit quizzes is also 2 points you can get. Okay, I think it's like half a point for each one. There's 4 of them, so but you have to pass each one at the 70%. Okay, you do that, you get half a point. You do that for all 4. That's another 2 points. So you can actually have a max of 4 points added onto your final grade because of that. Okay, and these are on Blackboard, so these will be available. You have like 36 hours, give or take, to complete this, and you do these, you know, wherever you have a computer, you can do it on your cell phone, right? So it's up to you. Okay, obviously, this is not something that is proctored, right? You can have all your buddies over and do it at the same time, whatever. Okay, so but that's what that is. Okay, book. So I do. I don't require a book, but I do highly recommend the book. Okay, this isn't even the current edition. There's now a 5th edition out, but I'm not fooling with that until the fall. But so the 4th edition, 3rd edition, 2nd edition, all 2, 3, and 4 are all. 4th is, I think, is the best. 3rd is pretty good too. But I realize how expensive these things are. So, you know, get the best you can, obviously. The bookstore sells loose leaf versions. There's ebook versions. So whatever fits what you like, both in terms of price and, you know, some people are really stuck on having a hard copy that they can hold and highlight and whatnot. But the ebook, I think, is pretty good because you can click on different things and go to animations, and you can go to this and that. So I think those are pretty good too, and they're cheaper. We're talking about SmartWork. That's tied to the book, as the publisher maintains that. So you will need. So if you go to, and these are shots from Blackboard. Okay. So if you go to the SmartWork, I think it's called the SmartWork folder or something like that. You click on this one, link to SmartWork and other digital resources. That will get you to a page where you can actually buy the ebook with or without the homework. Well, you want the homework, but you can get the homework by itself, right, without getting a book or anything. It's whatever you want to do. But that's where you can do it, by going to that site, and there's like a thing that says purchase options in the corner. Okay. The only other thing you'll need once you activate it is this. And so this is just a one-page document that tells you here is your what they call student set ID. You need to plug that in to access the assignments. Okay. Let's see. Okay, clickers. All right. So clickers, I'm sure most of you are already familiar with this. So many classes on campus use these nowadays. So if you are new and you're not sure, if you are new, or if you are coming from elsewhere, another school, and you've used a different looking clicker, right? So the ones we're using here are the handheld ones. I've gotten away, at least for the last couple of semesters, the mobile apps, because the connections have dropped out during class at times, and it relies on a wireless connection. If you don't have it, then you may have a question, and if you're using the mobile app, it won't work, right? So I've always had much better luck with the handheld one, so that's what we're going to use. So if you're a previous user, just make sure you got the 3 green check marks, right? Go into your account and check. You'll want to go into the turning point. I think I have it here. Yeah. Here, register your clicker. Make sure it's tied to this course, even though you may already have one. That's fine. You check to make sure that your license hasn't expired, right? Licenses are good for a year, okay? So make sure that's good. And like I said, if you see 3 green check marks, you're good to If you're new, you don't know what clickers are about. You need both a handheld device and a subscription. For all questions clicker, okay, just click on the link that's in Blackboard. Again, this is a Blackboard folder. Click on this link. Everything you need to know about clickers is there. Purchase information, video tutorials, everything. Okay. Now, in terms of a physical building to go to Classroom and Business Building 202. Right? They actually have a rep from the company that makes the clickers. There, you can interact with them. If you have issues, your clicker may not work, and they might just give you a new one. Okay, so just be aware of that. Okay, unregistered clickers. Okay, so when you come to class, just make it a habit to put it in your book bag or wherever you put your stuff, because forget it, you're going to be out of luck that day. Okay, I don't take paper submissions, right? Only what comes through the receiver. Okay, don't forget your clicker. Okay. I already said that. Oh, here, functional clicker. Make sure your clicker is functioning, right? Check batteries. Also, if you have bought a clicker like on Amazon or through a third party and not from school, or a friend gives you one, right? You can also have issues with your clicker. So if that's you've got it through a third party or a friend gave it to you and you're seeing issues on Blackboard where you don't see any points, okay? That's why you want to regularly check Blackboard to make sure, oh, my clicker point's getting through. Is it accurate? Is it right? Okay? Is to make sure you catch these situations where maybe your clicker is not working right. Maybe it's one of these third party types that they've reprogrammed it. That's what can happen. So just make it a habit to always check Blackboard. And I'll post grades a minimum of once a week, if not twice a week. Right? So always check to make sure you're getting your points. Okay? If something's not right, this is where my role in the process is very minimal. Right? So if you're seeing 0 clicker points, it's not because I'm doing something diabolical to you. Okay? My role is I just have this receiver, okay, USB plugged in here, okay, and you enter your answers and it just picks it up, puts it in the database. Right? I just hit a couple buttons after class and that's it. That's all I'm doing, okay? So if there are issues, I can't help with that, right? I don't know how the internal workings of a clicker, I don't know what that is, okay? So that's why you go to CBB 202, okay? And I will tell you the same thing, okay? So just be aware of that. Always check your clicker points and get it taken care of if there's issues, because that's what I'll tell you. If you email me, I'll just say, go to CBB 202, okay? And they'll contact me if they need to, so don't need to worry about that. So they'll contact me and say, hey, can you check this and this on your data, blah, blah. So, but always keep checking your clicker points, okay? So clicker grade, what is the clicker grade, okay? So remember, you're going to see on Blackboard, that's why it's important, even though these first 3 sessions we're doing and using clickers are not going to count, they do count in terms of making sure that your system's working right, okay? So, so at the end, you're going to go, well, what's my clicker grade? Okay, well, it's going to be, and we'll go through the calculation here, okay? So step 1 is you get an attendance point, okay? But the threshold is you must answer at least half the questions, okay? You do that, whether you answer correctly or incorrectly, it doesn't matter. But if you respond to half the questions that are presented, then you get 1 attendance point, okay? Next is, well, what are the questions worth, whether correct or incorrect? Well, 2 and 1. 2 points if it's correct, 1 point if it's incorrect, okay? So one thing that baffles students, some of them at the end of the semester, is I came to class all the time, 100% attendance. My clicker grade's not 100. Okay? Well, this is why. Okay? Because you didn't answer all the questions correctly. Okay? you got that attendance point, right? As long as you stayed long enough to answer half the questions. But, you know, you're getting a lot of the questions wrong, even though you still get points for them, okay? So if that is you, you come to class all the time, and you come for the entire session, you answer all the questions, but your grade's like a 50, that too should be a light bulb going off in your head going, what's up, right? You're not getting information, right? Either you're not prepared, not studying, or something, right? So you should certainly be getting better than a 50 on it, okay? Now, there will be a handful of questions now and then I'll just throw out just to see what the response is, okay? And those will be 2 points. Whatever you answer, it'll be 2 points, okay? So there'll be some of those, okay? But there will be some where I think, well, you should know this, okay? And then that's where it'll be the 2 or 1 kind of scenario, okay? So, so having said we're going to use clickers today, this is going to be the first example of a question we're going to do, okay? So it's always going to be channel 41. And the first question is, and the other thing is, as we do these, obviously when we're doing teamworks, and when we're doing clicker questions, 10 heads are better than 1, right? I think, I don't know, maybe not. So it's okay to, you know, turn your head around, talk to your neighbor, say, what's up, right? And we can start that now. So the question is, we must have some people with ESP because 2 people already responded. There we go. All right, so you have 4 clicker questions during class, okay? You respond to 3 of them before you leave early and answer 2 of them correctly and 1 incorrectly, okay? Your total points earned for the day is what, okay? 4 questions, respond to 3, 2 right, 1 wrong. Okay. Okay. Before they even answer. Okay. Okay, put the timer on. Okay. All right, and this is a typical scenario. I'll put it up, give you a few seconds, then start the timer, okay? Okay, so here we go. Okay. Well, you did better. Yesterday's class got 80%. You got almost 90. So A is obviously correct. Okay. So then, so that's part of the equation. So so you're going to see columns on Blackboard. It'll have the date and it'll have a points you've earned, right? Which will be based on this exact calculation. Okay. Then you'll see a column that's basically a running total, right? So it'll be a running total, so it'll be total points. And so what you'll need to do to figure out your clicker grade at any point is to take that total points number and divide it by, and you'll see this in there as well, total possible points. Okay, so that's, you divide your total points by total possible points to get your clicker grade. Okay, so in this example here, okay, for this particular day, the total possible points was what? So this person got 6 out of 2, 4, 6, 8, plus 1 attendance point, 9 possible maximal points for that day. Okay, so 6 out of 9 is what their score would be for that day. Okay, so when you're doing your clicker grade at any point during the semester, you just take your total points, divide by total possible points. That's it. And that percentage is your grade, okay? And so that percentage is what your, at the end, your extra credit, clicker extra credit can be based on, will be based on. So that's how you do that, okay? Any questions so far? Clickers, homework, anything, okay? All right, so let's look at, so this is just a screenshot of Blackboard video lectures. So what you are seeing up here and hearing, right, that will be captured, okay? After class, I'll basically just transfer, and it will go to NSMIT, and they'll process it, and it goes fairly quickly, usually within a couple hours after class, at the latest the next morning, but that's pretty rare, okay? So that's really the only thing. Oh, the other thing here is I get lots of emails from various organizations, from whether it's ASDA, the dental organization, various medical student organizations, free pharmacy, etc. Right? So any of those you'll find in here, and I generally post an announcement when I post those things as well. So if that's something you're interested in, that's where you'll find that information. Okay. Let's see. Okay. The other thing is also integrated into Blackboard is the textbook material. So the textbook publisher has integrated material into Blackboard as well. That's what you can see if you click on this button right here, textbook materials. You can also actually access the homework through there as well. But it's broken down into the various units of the book, which there are 5. And when you click on one of these folders, you'll see more stuff. Each of them is organized the same way. There's like a chapter outline. There's a chapter outline. There's quizzes you can take. There are like flashcards there for different terms. Again, it's all optional. None of it is for grade. It's if you want to do it, that's fine. Okay, but you can access that here if you choose to do so. Okay, again, just more resources for you to use. So in class assignment, we talked about this already. Teamwork, rules and policies. So to receive a response, the email must have this in it. So there's like 4 different classes. All of them are micro, some are lab, some are lecture. But I can't figure out what you're talking about unless you give me an idea, right? So, and which class you're in, right? So at the minimum, put this in there in your subject line, okay? And generally, I don't respond to questions where you can find it in the syllabus. So something like, when's our exam, okay? That you can look up. There's like 3 different documents that you can find that. The syllabus, there's one called exam and quiz dates. So questions like that, I tend not to answer, okay? Anything else, fine, okay? So in terms of missed exam, okay? Again, this is dumb. This shouldn't happen. In this day and age, where everybody's got a cell phone, you can program reminders in there, set an alarm off, blah, blah. So, if there are legitimate excuses, obviously. Flat tire on the way to the exam. Got in an accident. My house is flooded. Weather issues in Houston, of course. So the thing is, not because I don't believe you, okay, but you have to back it up. You have to prove it with documentation, right? Whether it's a doctor's note with a number on there, I can call the doctor if I wanted to, or at least the office. A tow truck report, a police report if it's an accident, something just to verify the situation, okay? You with a selfie in front of a car with a dent, take it anywhere, okay? So, just back it up, right? And so, but if the excuse is, oh, I just forgot my day and time, I thought it was at 4, but I should have put 5 or something like that, there's no excuse. So if you get a makeup for that, just automatic 20% off the top, right? So that shouldn't happen, okay? No makeups for extra credit quizzes. That's because you can take them, you have 2 or 3 days to do those, and you can take them anywhere, cell phone, any computer. So I don't do makeups on those. The in-class assignments, okay? We have 3 free passes, okay? If you exceed it, well, then it can count against you. Any excuse is fine. Doesn't matter. I don't even need to know, right? You just miss a class, that's fine. So you get 3 of those you can use during the semester. Details you can get in the syllabus on it. But and missed in-class assignments. So if you miss one of those, you can use a previous in-class assignment or one that's coming up later and use that to substitute as a makeup grade for that assignment. Missed one, okay? You can do that one time, okay? So in other words, you can miss one teamwork assignment but still get credit for it because you can use one of your other ones. But if you miss 2 of them, you can only use 1, right? So you are going to miss out on one of those, okay? Okay. I think is that it for policy stuff? Any questions? Okay. And sometimes there may be a hand pop up. I may not see it, so you may need to go shout, because also my eyes are not what they used to be either, okay? So, okay, so let's talk briefly about how to study, okay? So I know that everybody talks, right? You've talked to people who've already taken this course, I'm sure, and they say, it's a breeze, just do X, Y, and Z and you'll be fine, okay? Don't need to buy the book, just look at the video lecture and that's it, you're good to go. Or whatever they tell you, okay? That's fine, it's okay to listen to the information, but they don't know you. They don't know how your brain necessarily works and absorbs information and learns stuff, okay? So all I'm saying is take it with a grain of salt, okay? And only you know how you learn stuff. But even having said that, you may realize you may need to change some things, okay, based on how feedback is. And feedback can come from different sources, okay? It can come, I wouldn't put that much weight on if you make 100 on a Blackboard quiz, okay? Because you can have your notes out, it's not a stressful environment, right? You can just, kick back and just do it on your cell phone and have your book by whatever, right? So I wouldn't necessarily use that as a evaluation that you're doing great, okay? I might say that the clicker questions, if you're missing a lot of those, that might be a clue, okay? But what you need to do is you need to do your part as well, which is preparation. So read the stuff beforehand. I'm not saying you're going to be an expert on it. Nobody knows stuff the first time they read it, okay, or understands it. But go through it, go through lecture notes. So at least when I start talking about stuff, you go, oh yeah, I remember reading about that, and try to start making connections in your head, right? Synthesize the information in your own words, right? Because one of the things you got to keep doing, this is what you need to tattoo on the back of your hand, is this phrase, okay? What makes me think I know this, okay? And the answer to that question is well, I read the book, I flipped through the notes, okay? Looked at the video lectures, I took the quiz. None of those is the answer to that question, okay? The answer to that question is you need to have something tangible that you can see and challenge yourself with to evaluate if you really do know the information, okay? And that can come in the form of, because you need to figure out how to evaluate your studying process. And you want to do that before exam 1 comes up, okay? Because then it's too late. You can't change anything, okay? So what you want to do, I think what you want to do, is something like the exam review sheet, which will be up this week, okay? Look at that, okay? And I don't necessarily like the word concept mapping. It's kind of too, I don't know, too formal, I think. I think what you need to do is have maybe mind map is a better term. They've used that before. But you need to, what you want to do, for example, is to look at the exam review sheet And it's just an outline of what's going to be on the exam, right? But take like maybe letter A and number 1, 2, and 3 under letter A. You go, I'm going to zero in, and I'm going to study that, okay? Then you do whatever it is you do, okay? Then you get to a point where you go, I think I know this pretty well, okay? Then you go and you write down on a piece of paper what A was, right? What was the topic of A, right? Maybe it was viral life cycles or something, right? Then you're going to go, when you're done, you're ready to test yourself, take that piece of paper that you've written that on, take a pencil, lock yourself in a closet with a flashlight, okay, and just begin to throw up your brain on that paper on that particular subject area. Whatever, words, paragraphs, pictures, diagrams, however you know it, put it on that paper, right? Then you look at it and go, did all this studying, wouldn't do everything, and now it's right in front of your face, right? So how complete and correct it is, right? So you'll take it and you go, let me look at the book and notes, see if it's verified for accuracy and correctness, right? And you'll likely be on the spectrum somewhere between 40% and 100%, okay? So for the stuff you nailed and you got right, don't need to worry about it. Good to go, right? The stuff that's kind of sketchy, fuzzy, right? Test yourself again, right? If it's still not getting in, then you come for help, okay? Use that process. So you don't do this all at once. You do it a chunk at a time. So go through that review sheet. Take, how much you do at once is up to you. Don't bite off too much, okay? But do chunks, right? And do that exercise. But I can't emphasize this enough. Don't do the exercise when you have all your stuff in front of you, because that defeats the whole purpose. You want to know. You want to answer this question, okay? And that will do it. I wish, I told you at class yesterday, I wish, because I've had students that have changed midstream, all right? Bombed exam 1, right? Bombed exam 2. Then said, you know what, I think I'll try this, right? And they succeeded. I didn't say they made 100, but they significantly improved 15, 20 points, in some cases 30 points in exam score. I wish I could round those people up and just give a testimonial up here, okay? Because I realize me saying it doesn't carry as much weight as one of your own saying it, okay? But it has worked, okay? So, but you may have a thing that works for you, okay? I'm just saying after exam 1 is over, evaluate, okay? Because the worst thing you can do, the dumbest thing you can do, okay, is to repeat what you did on exam 1. Whatever you did for exam 1 to make that 40, do you really want to do that again? And I hear students say, yeah, I'm going to study harder now. So you're just going to work harder at the same thing that gave you that 40, and you're going to do it again. And what do you end up with on exam 2? A 40, okay? So that's the very definition of insanity, right? To keep doing something that's not working, right? So don't do that, okay? Try something else. I mean, the worst, what have you got to lose, right? The worst you'll do is just make the same grade you did the first time, right? So if you try to do something different, I don't think you can do anything but help, okay? But anyway, so that's my 2 cents worth on that. And here's an exam. Here's one of those things. This is kind of a little more formal than what I like, but there's a program, and the details are in the syllabus on this. You can actually use to construct these things. So this is kind of a concept map of the chapter 1 material, where I started with that. So that chapter 1 is really kind of about microbes and what are they all about and blah blah. So you kind of the stumbling blocks with these things are what I've circled, or kind of the connecting words or phrases. So originated microbes are differentiated from cells. Are microorganisms. So how much you flesh this out depends on kind of how well you understand it, right? To be able to put in those connecting words and then fill it all out, okay? And how full the paper is directly relates to how much you know about it, okay? So it's really a visual of what you know about that subject, okay? So in terms of this course, it's basically, like I said, 4 units. We start kind of with the basics of what prokaryotes are and what viruses are. In this course, 90% prokaryotes. and 10% viruses. Don't really talk about eukaryotes, okay? Because that's what you did in intro bio, what you do in your other upper division courses, genetics, cell bio, etc. It's all heavily eukaryotic systems, okay? So this is really your only exposure for the most part. There's Dr. Delcour's course in, she talks about more the molecular biology of certain diseases, but this will give you kind of a good overview of what prokaryotes are all about, and viruses to an extent as well, okay? So Unit 2 is more about metabolism, growth, and culture. Unit 3 is more about bacterial genetics, maybe hopefully squeeze in a little bit of ecology. And the last unit is all about more medical microbiology, clinical microbiology. So at the end, you'll have to learn a number of different infectious diseases, be able to characterize, etc. But that's a long ways away. Okay. Okay. The course. So these are just kind of a couple things to pay attention to. So for me, the lecture slides are basically, obviously an outline for me. This is what I'm going to talk about now as it flashes up on the screen. But I'll always likely have some things I'll add to the notes. It could be maybe a picture or a diagram. Maybe I've slightly modified one of the slides I posted on Blackboard. But you can always find anything you see up here that you may not necessarily have that day in your stuff you downloaded from Blackboard. You'll always have access to it after class, because I'll put them in here called extra/annotated slides, and it'll be in the unit folder. Okay, so if you see something up there that you haven't seen, you will have accessibility to it. I may post a question or problem on Blackboard, or maybe email you about it, more likely, that we'll talk about. I already mentioned that. Course topics, I already did that. Okay, so let's do a handful of quick questions that each relate to kind of a different theme or area. Again, it'll always be 41 in here, channel 41. And so remember, Thursday the 23rd, we start for real. So the first question is one that all of you are in, I'm sure, are in this boat. Okay, I have a specific grade I must make, whether it's a C+, a minus, whatever. Okay, my life depends on it. Okay, I need that specific grade because I'm graduating in the spring, because I'm trying to stay off probation, trying to maintain a scholarship, or something else. All right. And this being spring, to have it for graduation is very popular. Okay. So, and there's a point to me putting this question in. Okay. Okay. So I've got the timer on. So again, the other purpose for all these clicker questions today is I'll upload these tomorrow. So do check Blackboard. Okay, to make sure if you've gotten everything renewed and whatnot, that it's getting in. Okay. Okay. All right. And yeah, that's about what I expected. Okay. So what you don't want to be is this guy right here, okay, at the end of the semester, right? We're on week 15, right? It's April 18th, right? And you're going, I need to have, I have never seen you the entire semester, never heard from you, don't even know who you are if you stood in front of me, okay? And you're going, Dr. Knapp, can you add 10 points to my grade so I can graduate? That's not going to happen, okay? For obvious reasons. We're all in the same boat. Well, you're all in the same boat, okay? And obviously, everybody has to be treated equally, right? We don't have 300 different curricula tailored for each person, okay? I can't give you 10 points and I give that person 10 points, right? What people fail to realize is that when you look at all the grades and you line them up numerically, okay, and you have the cutoffs, right? So somebody is, you know, you're at the B minus C plus border, right? Whatever that number is, and a person at that border says, "Can you bump me up?" There are literally probably 10 or 15 people that are in that same bunch, right? And so you get tunnel vision, right? You don't realize that you have other students to consider as well, okay? So I can't do that, right? So obviously, if I do, okay, I'll give everybody points, right? Then the grade becomes watered down, and who even cares about a grade at that point, right? What does a degree even mean if that's how you're getting your grades, okay? So main point here is, I cannot help you on week 15. I can help you every week prior to that, okay? So if you are seeing trouble ahead, if you have to graduate on May 10th, I can't remember the day, of this May 10th, 2020, right? And you need a certain grade, you know, be highly aware of that, right? And look at your grades on Blackboard. Are you progressing like you should? Are you not? Head it off before it gets bad, okay? And I can help you as much as I can. I mean, I'm not a tutor, okay? But I can obviously help with the material, maybe help in terms of how you're studying, these kind of things, right? So sooner rather than later, okay? I cannot help you on week 15, okay? And I can help you study for the final, but, you know, I can't, I just can't, you know? I assume that's obvious, okay? So don't wait till it's too late. Get help when you need it. There's no shame in it, for crying out loud, okay? Okay, I just mentioned about the prerequisites. So like intro bio is a prerequisite for this course. We've gotten rid of the other stuff. They used to have chemistry 1 and 2 as a prerequisite. Don't need that, okay? So you may find that it helps, particularly if you've taken organic chemistry. Those people have told me that it's helped in metabolism, although I don't go hardcore, you know, when it comes to the chemistry. I mean, there's certain things we cover, but don't be afraid of that. But, you know, intro bio, because I don't cover, that's why I put these bulleted things here, because I don't go into great detail because I assume you know it, okay? So like the protein synthesis that you can kind of explain in basic, you know, terms what that is, DNA replication, because you did that stuff in intro bio, right? So I'm not going to spend time going into all the nuts and bolts about that, okay? Evolution, basic concept of evolution, right? So cell structure, if I say membrane, then it's not like a foreign thing to you, right? You kind of have an idea what that structure is, okay? Osmosis, right? These kind of things. So, so this question kind of relates to that, because I'll know right away, okay, if you understand this, okay? And that question is this one, okay? So, so the process of transcription translation, okay? See if that jogs the old brain bone, okay? It's carried out in a test tube. To a test tube is added, okay? From a fish, that stuff. From a zebra, DNA. From a hippo, everything else you need to kind of make this happen, okay? So assume you get some new protein synthesized. You get stuff synthesized in that tube, right? Didn't happen before, and now it appears through the transcription and translation process, right? From which animals will those proteins that appear in the tube, when you've carried this out, which animals or animal, from which will it come, okay? So you got 3 animals to choose from. Right? Okay. And I've used this when I used to teach intro bio. This is a question I had on the exam every year, and it was always a 50-50 split. Okay. Okay. Okay, timer's on. Okay, so let's set this up again, right? You got zebra DNA, you got those components from a fish, added stuff from a hippo to kind of make it all go. Then we are going into our test tube, analyzing, seeing what new stuff, what new proteins have appeared, and then figure out who did it come from, okay? So let's see what we got. Okay. All right, so let me do this here. Okay, and let me do this. All right, so remember the basic equation here is DNA, so remember the old central dogma, right? DNA, RNA, proteins, okay? There is an exception to that, and we'll talk about that later in the semester. But DNA, RNA, proteins. So which means that's obvious, and the zebra should be part of the equation somehow or another, right? So the DNA is transcribed first into a RNA form. That's your mRNA, right? So then that right away tells us that this guy's a part of the process too, right? So mRNA is then translated by ribosomes and tRNA to make proteins, okay? So zebra and fish are the ones whose proteins will be expressed. Not hippo. Yeah, you're going to have components from the hippo to kind of make stuff go, right? RNA polymerase and whatnot. But those aren't newly synthesized, right? We're talking about new stuff that's appearing. It's only going to be coming from the hippo or from the fish and the zebra, okay? Any questions about that? If you need to, review the process, okay? This is one of those things, if you're graduating from here with a bio degree, you can't be one of those types that, I remember on Tonight Show, when it used to be Jay Leno, he'd have these man on the street interviews, and they'd ask somebody, oh, what's the capital of Texas? And they say Boston or something dumb, right? I mean, granted, that's not necessarily knowledge that's useful, but I mean, it just, the point is, you're a bio degree person, you should know the basic central dogma thing, right? You should know basics of evolution, these kind of things, right? If you don't, then that's then on me and my other colleagues. So, but anyway, okay. So bacteria. So here's a question that kind of relates to what do you know about them? What do you know about them? That's what we're going to be talking about in chapter 1. Is kind of what are they? Okay. So let me open the polling up. There we go. Okay. As the other thing, you know, with the you know, your exams are multiple choice types, very much like these kind of questions. You'll see them on the Blackboard quizzes too. That'll give you an idea what kind of questions to expect. But you know, test taking stuff, right? There are some students that refuse to pick something like this. Right? You go, he's got to be tricking me. No. Right? So, you know, you mentally just have to go through and go, okay, A through G. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. If you have multiples of those, then you answer based on that. Okay? Okay, timer's on. I'll also, just for fun, occasionally I'll put up my list of streaming shows I'm watching that you should watch. Okay. I think I'm watching Succession right now. Oh, we are, my wife and I. Yep. Okay. So we got, all right, 30 and 26. What was E? Okay. So, all right. Bacteria are the only type of prokaryote. There's bacteria and there's archaea. Right? There's actually two groups of prokaryotes. Okay. Bacteria are haploid. They have one chromosome. Okay. There can be variations where you may have what are called partial diploids. Where, of course, are true diploids, right? We have basically two sets of all of our genes, right, on each chromosome, but not bacteria. They cannot carry out sexual reproduction, okay? They are strictly binary fission. There are some variations, but, you know, they're basically like a Xerox machine, make copies of themselves, okay? They don't have organelles. They're not characterized by having membrane-bound organelles like eukaryotic cells. So they don't have mitochondria. They can have what we call certain types of inclusions or specialized structures internally, but they're not classified as organelles. Okay, mitosis, no, but mitosis and binary fission give you the same end results, right? You start with the same thing and end with the same thing. In other words, you start with a cell and you get two identical cells, right? That's true whether it's binary fission or mitosis. Okay, but binary fission is different from mitosis because it's it's a very specific thing. So remember your, if I can remember it, PMAT, right? Prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Right? It's a very orchestrated process involving components to latch on the chromosomes and move them around and whatnot, right? You don't see that in bacteria, right? So so mitosis, even though the beginning and end, you know, you get the same thing. It's not mitosis, right? So don't confuse yourself with that. Understandable, but don't. There's two different things, right? Mechanistically, okay. Prokaryotes are going to be not in this size. This is more eukaryotic cell size. Prokaryotes are more in the 1 to 10 micron. And G is incorrect because they first appeared more like 3 billion, not million. So add about 3 zeros to that. Okay. Oldest life forms. So which means H is the correct answer. Okay. So none of the above, right? So don't be afraid to pick that as a choice. Okay. So this is kind of basically, I'm not going to do that question. So in terms of, I'm just going to do a little bit of chapter 1. And it's really just the intro, kind of just the highlights of microbes, but kind of focusing on prokaryotes. Okay, so we'll kind of do the who, what, when, where, and why in this chapter. Who, what, when, where, and why of microbes. Okay, so your exposure. That's not the right word. Probably your first. Hint of what microbes were, you know, in news, right? The stuff you hear in the news about microbes is generally 99% bad, right? Listeria outbreak and so, a contaminated, lettuce contaminated with salmonella or whatever, right? It's usually kind of some kind of disease outbreak, okay? But there are far more that fit the category of beneficial, good, okay, than far outweigh those that are bad, okay? And so everything we know really about, we're just talking the question on protein synthesis, right, and how that works, and DNA replication. A lot of these basic life processes were figured out using bacteria, using yeast, using viruses even, okay? So bacteria are very easy to grow and are not as complicated compared to eukaryotic cells. So they're then, of course, an easy model to study these kind of things. And it's what Watson and Crick did to figure out the genetic code. And So they've of course, been a lot of use in that area. And then we can apply this knowledge then to biotechnology, okay, where we are manipulating the genomes, in some cases, of these microbes for our own benefit, right, to make stuff, to generate biofuels production using algae, to areas in agriculture, textiles. The blue dye in your jeans comes from an E. coli that's been genetically engineered to make indigo. Various food production, alcoholic beverages, obviously, beer, wine, cheese production, chemical industry, using biological processes to replace existing chemical processes. Chemical processes generally require high temperatures and pressures, catalysts and unwanted side reactions, and various pollutants. Biological processes that are equal to that don't do those things. Okay, so lots of, that's frankly, before I started doing this 15 years ago. Prior to that, that's what I was involved in, was biotech and working really in the chemical industry in that respect. So, of course, it's brought us lots of different discoveries and whatnot. Bioremediation, right? Basically using microbes to clean up our messes, literally, okay? Whether it be organic pollutants of different types. You can even consider wastewater treatment, right? The subdivision, maybe if you don't live on campus now, but your subdivision where your folks live, in that area will be a wastewater treatment plant behind a big fence that you can't see it, and they'll provide clean drinking water for that 150, 200 homes in that area. And it's all due to microbes that are chewing that organic material up and providing you that clean drinking water, okay? That you can consider bioremediation as well, okay? Symbioses of different types. Probably the most important are the ones, the relationships you have with your own microbes, right? You have far more of those guys than of your own cells in and on your body, right? Your gut, certainly, okay? And you have all different types of benefits, okay? Microbial ecology, okay? Super important because bacteria and others have such a diverse metabolism, okay? Way beyond what you know in terms of the glucose to CO2 and water, right? They can utilize all different types of hydrocarbons, inorganic sources of energy, etc. And because they can do that, they can provide ecosystem members with various forms of the elements, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, etc. Because of their ability to cycle these different nutrients, because of their metabolism. Nitrogen cycle in particular is super huge, important, right? They can take nitrogen from the atmosphere, bring it into Earth. They can transform it into forms that others can more easily use. Plants, even though how great they are, sunlight and water, they can't synthesize their own nitrogen, so they rely on microbial activity. So this is super important, really, for life on Earth, to be able to do that. And it's all driven by different types of bacteria. Now, the bad, of course, okay, infectious disease, right? Things like Ebola we've heard about in the news, listeria we've heard about in the news lately. The plague obviously had a huge impact centuries ago. And one I need to change this joke, but I still haven't gotten away from it, and that's the Chipotle one, okay? Because they keep messing up, right? Even late last year, again, okay? Because, and I'll leave you with this, you can't spell Chipotle without E. coli, okay? So that's like for 6 semesters running now, so I got to change to something else. So anyway, that's a good place to stop, folks. So thanks, and we'll pick it up on Thursday.